Are you really okay? Or have you simply learned how to hide it? How many times have you smiled and said, "I'm fine," while your soul was quietly screaming for help? Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." But why is it so hard to face our own silent struggles? Because we've been trained to survive by pretending everything's okay. Have you ever sat in a room full of people, laughing and talking, yet felt completely invisible? Have you ever felt an emptiness so loud it drowned out every word of comfort anyone tried to offer? If you've experienced this, you're not alone, and more importantly, there's nothing wrong with you. You're about to understand why these hidden battles exist, why they remain unseen, and most importantly, how to overcome them and finally breathe freely again. Today, I'll reveal Carl Jung's powerful truth about your silent struggles and the hidden path to emotional liberation. Before we dive in, remember, real healing begins the moment you choose to stay present with your pain instead of running from it. And if you're ready to take the next step toward your healing journey, I've prepared something special, an exclusive ebook with Carl Jung's most transformative teachings on self-worth and emotional freedom. You'll find the link below when you're ready. And hey, don't forget to subscribe. Together, we'll uncover the truth hidden behind every silent struggle. How many silent battles have you fought this week alone? How many times did you want to say, "I'm not okay," but the words just wouldn't come out? In a world obsessed with appearances, we've learned to wear emotional armor. Social media tells us to stay positive. Our workplaces reward us for keeping it together. Even our loved ones sometimes say, "Just be strong." And so we bury it. The sadness, the fear, the overwhelming feeling that something's just off inside. Carl Jung believed that every unspoken emotion becomes part of the shadow, the hidden side of our psyche, where we store the feelings we're too afraid to face. But here's the truth Jung uncovered. The more you suppress your pain, the louder it echoes through your life. That quiet sadness that creeps in at night, the anxiety that feels like a knot in your chest, the unexplained exhaustion even after a full night's sleep. All of these are signs that your inner self is begging to be heard, but society never taught us how to listen, did it? We were told to ignore it, to toughen up, to smile through the pain. Yet deep down you know that pretending only works for so long. Eventually, that emotional weight becomes too heavy to carry alone. And that's why you're here. Because part of you knows it's time to stop running. Through Jung's powerful psychological insights, you'll finally understand why these silent struggles have followed you for so long, and how to transform them into your greatest source of inner strength. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally remembering who you really are, beyond the wounds, beyond the silence, beyond the mask. If you're ready to begin that journey, stay with me until the end of this video, and when you're ready to take the next step, the ebook I've prepared will guide you even deeper into this path of self-discovery and healing. Let's walk this path together. Your silence ends now. The hidden battles you fight alone, and why you never talk about them. There's a reason why the question, "Are you okay?" often leaves you speechless. Not because you don't have an answer, but because you have too many. Too many moments. When you held back tears in crowded rooms, too many nights spent awake replaying old conversations, and too many days pretending everything was fine while your chest felt heavy and your mind was drowning in invisible noise. Carl Jung understood this phenomenon deeply. He believed that much of our suffering comes not from what happens to us directly, but from the battles we fight in silence, those wars within ourselves that never find their way into words. Jung called this unspoken realm the shadow, the hidden part of our psyche where we store everything we feel we cannot share, the shame, the doubts, the fears, the unresolved grief. Think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to fully express what you're really feeling without fear of being judged or misunderstood? Most people don't. Society subtly trains us to believe that admitting struggle is weakness, that vulnerability is something to be hidden behind curated smiles and perfectly filtered social media posts. And so, your silent battles continue, unseen and unspoken. But here's the hidden danger Jung warned about. Whatever is left unspoken, whatever remains buried in the unconscious, doesn't simply disappear. It festers. It becomes the quiet anxiety that creeps in when you're alone, the sudden bursts of irritation you can't explain, the self-sabotage that shows up just when you're about to take a step forward in life. This is why you might feel stuck in patterns you can't seem to break, patterns that leave you wondering why you can't be happier, why relationships keep falling apart, or why success feels meaningless. It's not because you're broken. It's because there's a part of you waiting to be heard, and you've spent years silencing it. Jung's concept of individuation, the journey to becoming a whole, integrated person, requires us to confront these hidden battles, not to fix them instantly, but to acknowledge them, to sit quietly with your own discomfort and ask, what am I really afraid of? What pain have I never given myself permission to feel? Perhaps you were taught from a young age that expressing your needs made you a burden. Maybe every time you asked for help, you were met with dismissal or ridicule. And so, little by little, you learned to survive without asking, to wear resilience like a badge of honor even when it was breaking you inside. Jung believed that the strongest among us are not those who avoid their darkness, but those who are brave enough to face it, because only in facing it can we begin to heal. The silent struggles you endure are not signs of weakness. They are invitations. Invitations to reconnect with parts of yourself you've long abandoned. Ask yourself, when was the last time you comforted yourself instead of criticizing? When did you last celebrate a small victory instead of dismissing it as not good enough? These moments matter. They are the beginnings of self-repair, and perhaps the most radical act of healing you can do today is this. Stop believing the lie that you have to carry everything alone. Jung wrote, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. So if you feel exhausted, lost, or disconnected, it's not because you are weak, it's because you've been fighting invisible battles without support. You've been wearing a brave face for too long, and beneath that strength is a soul desperate for gentleness, for understanding, for peace. And now I ask you, are you really okay? If you're ready to start finding real answers, stay with me. In the next part, we'll explore how these silent struggles don't just affect your mind but shape your entire life, and how Carl Jung's teachings can guide you back to wholeness. How your silent struggles shape your life, and how to break free. Have you ever wondered why you keep finding yourself in the same painful situations, repeating the same emotional patterns, no matter how much you try to change? Why does happiness always feel just out of reach? Why do you sabotage relationships that could have worked, or abandon dreams just before they become reality? Carl Jung would say it's because what you leave unhealed in the unconscious will continue to control your life, without your awareness. He famously wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." These silent struggles you carry, hidden shame, unprocessed grief, the belief that you're unworthy of help or happiness, they're not just harmless thoughts buried somewhere deep. They are powerful drivers, shaping every choice you make, every opportunity you reject, every boundary you fail to set. Think about this carefully. How often do you shrink yourself to avoid confrontation? How often do you say yes when your whole body is screaming no? How many times have you walked away from something good because it felt unfamiliar? Because deep down, you believed you didn't deserve it? This is the shadow at work. And it's not acting against you, it's trying to protect you. You see, the mind learns survival patterns early. If, in childhood, you felt ignored, criticized, or emotionally neglected, your mind adapted. It learned to avoid the pain of rejection by keeping you small, by convincing you to stay quiet, not ask for more, not believe you deserve better. As a child, this strategy might have kept you safe, but as an adult, it locks you in a prison of limitation. Jung's theory of the persona also plays a critical role here. The persona is the mask you wear to navigate the world, the socially acceptable version of yourself you present to others. Over time, many people become so attached to this mask that they forget who they truly are beneath it. That's why you might appear strong and confident on the outside, while inside, you're quietly falling apart. You've become a master at playing the role of the resilient one, the helper, the person who never complains. But in doing so, you've abandoned your own needs. And here's the hard truth. Pretending you don't have emotional needs doesn't make them disappear. It only buries them deeper, where they silently control your life from the shadows. So how do you break free from this cycle? The first step is radical honesty. You must begin asking yourself questions you've avoided for years. When did I first start believing I'm not worthy of help? Who taught me that my feelings are less important than the comfort of others? Why do I still hold on to the belief that my value depends on how much I can endure alone? The answers to these questions may be painful, but they will also be liberating. Because in naming the source of your silent suffering, you begin to take back control. Jung believed that wholeness comes not by rejecting the shadow, but by integrating it. This means recognizing that even your darkest emotions, your fears, your shame, your deep sadness, are not enemies. They are parts of you that have been crying out for attention and healing. Imagine for a moment treating those wounded parts of yourself as you would a frightened child. Instead of ignoring them, you sit with them. You listen. You offer kindness. You say, I hear you. I understand why you're scared, but you don't have to protect me like this anymore. This is where healing begins, not in the denial of your silent struggles, but in welcoming them into the light of your conscious awareness. As you do this, something remarkable starts to happen. The patterns that once seemed impossible to break begin to lose their hold. You find yourself setting healthier boundaries. You begin to speak your truth without guilt. You recognize when you're falling back into old survival habits, and this time you choose differently. And perhaps the most beautiful part? You start to believe, truly believe, that you deserve happiness. Not because you've earned it through perfection or endless sacrifice, but simply because you exist. This is what Jung called the process of individuation, the journey of becoming fully yourself, integrating all your parts, both light and shadow. It's not an easy path, but it's the only path that leads to true freedom. So, let me ask you again, are you okay? And this time, I hope you sit with that question a little longer. I hope you listen for the answers beneath the automatic, I'm fine. Because it's in that quiet space, between the discomfort and the truth, that real transformation begins. How to finally break free and reclaim your power. By now you've started to see how those hidden struggles, the silent wars you fight within, have shaped every corner of your life. But here's the truth, and I want you to really absorb this. You have the power to change the story. Carl Jung believed that every human being carries within them a vast, untapped reservoir of healing energy. He called this the self, the divine center of our being, the source of inner wisdom that transcends the ego's fears and limitations. And this self, it's not something you have to earn. It's already within you, quietly waiting for the moment. When you stop fighting yourself long enough to hear its voice. But how do you access it? How do you move from simply understanding your patterns to actually transforming them? You begin by making a conscious choice. I will no longer live on autopilot. I will no longer let old wounds decide the direction of my life. This isn't just about thinking positive thoughts or reciting empty affirmations. It's about rewiring the very way you exist in the world. Start small. The next time you feel that familiar wave of self-doubt, rise, pause, take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart, and remind yourself, this is just an old story playing out. I am not that story anymore. When you're tempted to shrink back into silence instead of speaking your truth, ask yourself, what would my life look like if I acted from my worth rather than my wounds? At first it will feel uncomfortable. The nervous system is used to the familiar patterns of self-sabotage and avoidance. Breaking free from them feels like walking without crutches for the first time, wobbly, terrifying, but also exhilarating. You'll start noticing subtle shifts. You'll say no when you mean no without drowning in guilt. You'll ask for what you need without apologizing for it. You'll begin to feel at home in your own body, perhaps for the first time in years. This is what it means to reclaim your power. And as you walk this new path, Jung's concept of shadow work becomes your greatest ally. Shadow work isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about embracing what you've hidden. It's about sitting with your shame and asking, what are you really trying to teach me? It's about holding space for your anger and asking, what boundary did I allow to be crossed? Every emotion you've labeled as bad or unworthy is simply a messenger. When you stop rejecting these messengers, they reveal the deeper lessons you've been avoiding, and with every layer you peel back, with every truth you dare to face, you become lighter, freer, stronger. Your relationships begin to transform. You're no longer attracted to people who mirror your old wounds. You start seeking connections that reflect your healing. You stop looking for saviors and start becoming your own greatest source of safety. This is how you rise. Not by pretending. You're unaffected. Not by suppressing your pain, but by walking straight into the fire of your discomfort and discovering that you are far stronger than you ever believed. So today, I ask you to make a choice. Will you keep living from the unconscious scripts handed to you by a wounded world, or will you become the conscious author of your own story? You have everything you need within you already. You always have. And if you feel lost, remember this. Even the darkest night is followed by dawn. The light you've been searching for isn't out there. It's within, and it's time to let it shine. The moment you choose yourself, everything changes. So let me ask you one last time, Bas. Are you really okay? Not the "I'm fine" you tell others to avoid uncomfortable conversations. Not the version of you that scrolls endlessly through social media just to drown out the silence. But the real you, the one who quietly cries at night, who feels the weight of invisible burdens, who wonders if they're enough. If you feel a lump in your throat or that familiar sting behind your eyes right now, it's because your soul recognizes this truth. You've spent too long abandoning yourself, and yet, despite all the years you've believed you were unworthy, despite the voices that told you you didn't matter, you're still here, breathing, hoping, searching. That resilience, that quiet, unwavering flame, is proof that you're far stronger than you think. Carl Jung taught that the path to healing doesn't begin when we've figured everything out. It begins the moment we stop running from ourselves. So today, choose yourself. Not perfectly, not loudly. Just gently and consistently. Choose to rest when you're exhausted, instead of pushing through the pain. Choose to speak your truth, even if your voice trembles. Choose to forgive yourself for the years you spent in survival mode. Because every time you choose yourself, you rewrite the story your inner child was told. You become the safe space you always longed for. And if no one has told you this today, let me be the first. You are worthy. You are loved. And you deserve a life that feels like peace. If this message stirred something deep within you, I invite you to stay close to this space. Subscribe to this channel so you never have to walk this journey alone again. And if you're ready to dive even deeper, to truly understand the roots of your struggles and how to overcome them, I've prepared a powerful ebook based on Jung's most transformative psychological teachings. Inside, you'll find the tools to reconnect with your inner worth, heal the wounds of your past, and finally live a life that feels authentic and free. The link is in the pinned comment. And remember, the most beautiful chapters of your life have yet to be written. Stay strong, stay present, and above all, stay kind to yourself. We'll meet again in the next video. Until then, take care of that beautiful soul of yours.